Hello laser engraver owners. In the midst of running 300 of these engravings for a customer, both of my Chinese laser machine with the 60 watt tube has failed. And the failure is due to a leak inside of the water switch that is installed inside of the machine. Without the water switch turned on, there are no connectivity to the laser tube, so therefore the machine or the laser tube will not fire. And here's a close-up of the water switch. As you notice, it's very cheaply made. I tried to contact the seller. The seller has not replied at all. And I looked all over eBay and the Amazon, and I noticed there is no listing or sale for this type of water switch at all. We're going to try to bypass the water switch and get the laser machine to function. Here is the close-up of the water switch. And the leak sometimes could be from the cracked adapter they have installed from up here. You'll notice I replaced this with the metal O-clamp. They typically come with sort of a tie to clamp that up, and that's very poorly manufactured as well. The switch you cannot find anywhere on the internet. Here's the first off, here's the water chiller that I'm using for this. This is a very good water chiller for this type of laser engraver. It costs anywhere from $500 to $800, I believe. It's a CW 5200 industrial chiller. It doesn't go any more or any higher than 73 Celsius, which is around maybe 72 degrees. And you notice right here, instead of using the high power vacuum that came with the machine, I purchased this inline exhaust fan that came with the I'm sorry, that doesn't come with this. You can buy it off of eBay or Amazon for around maybe $12. So this is a very low voltage inline vacuum that I use for this laser engraver. If you take a look at my second machine right here, you'll notice that I dismantled the water switch, which sits right here, as you can see. So the water switch is right here, and you'll notice I kind of I try to buy this tee from Home Depot. It comes with a brass one that didn't fit very well with these hoses. So what I did was I purchased these old clamps, and I'm using these instead of the wire wrap that comes with the machine. And pretty much in order to bypass the switch, we're going to go ahead and remove the T as well. And we're going to do that from this machine right here, which is having a problem. So this one, as you'll notice, the water switch is still connected. I'm going to go ahead and take it apart right now, and I'll go ahead and do the recorder on this. So we're going to bypass this, and we're not going to run the line into that, and we're going to run the hose straight from the water inlet into the laser tube here at the top right here. So we're going to connect it directly and bypass the T. So we're going to get rid of the T. Alright, remove the 4 screws. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stick our hand inside of here, and we're going to turn this sideways and pull it out. And you'll notice the brass T that's connected into there with the wire ties, as you can see. Very poorly manufactured here with these wire ties instead of using real O-clamps. Here's a closer look at it. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that. More than that, I'm going to go ahead and replace these ties with the O-clamps, metal O-clamps as well. Now if you take a look at this, is where the switch is at. We're going to go ahead and remove the 2 screws, and we're going to take the switch out. Make sure you know you view where the wires are at on the switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to dismantle the switch and plug those two wires back into the switch again. But we're going to bypass the water inlet that goes into there. So we have unmounted the water switch. You see where the red wire's at and the yellow wire's at? Yours could be a green wire and a red wire. Mine on this machine is a red and a yellow. On the other one I have, which is a green and a red right here. Green and red. Alright? So, you notice where the T is at? It comes in from the inlet. It runs to the Y, or we'll call it a T. And then it runs, one of the hose runs into the water switch, and the other one runs up to the laser tube, the inlet to the laser tube. Now we're going to take this inlet and we're going to install it onto this inlet right here. So we're going to bypass the T, and then we will deal with the switch next. But before we unplug or dismount all those hoses, let's take a look at what's happening to that switch right now. Let me turn on the water chiller. Alright, the water chiller's turned on. Let's take a look at how the water is flowing through right here. If you take a look right here, you'll notice that the bottom of the switch is leaking, and it's leaking really bad too. You don't want to turn the power to the laser on. You just want to circulate the water so you could identify the leak in the switch. You'll notice the leak is coming from the bottom right here. It's a lot of water. Alright? So we have to deal with that switch right now to remove that. Even though the machine is operational, there is a very bad leak, and of course it fills up the water inside right here. If it's leaking down, the water will retain inside of there, and it's a very bad thing, especially when electricity is running through this machine. Take a look at these two water switches. I actually took up that little red adapter from the other one. It actually cracked on the other machine and water was leaking out of here. But take a look at the one that I just took out. Look at the little nozzle that comes out of this. What they did in order to connect this pipe to fit properly into there, which this is very loose, they install another plastic tubing in order to set this inside of this, and then they use a wire tie to tie that in. Once again, very, very poorly manufactured piece of crap. So we have the switch taken out already, and we dismantle everything. Here's what it'll look like. And of course, there are no numbers on here, and there's just Chinese lettering on here. You're not going to find this part online at all. Here's a simple look inside of the switch. It's pretty much the water flows into the inlet, and it presses down on this, where you can hear the switch clicks simply from an off to an on position. So as water's flowing through, it'll push down on this, and it'll be on the on state. You can hear the clicking on here. Alright, I'll take the two leads from the switch, and I will crimp them, and then I will twist them together, then I will solder them, and then I'll cap them up, and I'll put them inside of this right here. I'll put them back in the container that runs along the back of the machine. So I'm going to go ahead and solder that now while I turn off the camera. So now that I soldered the leads together, the last thing to do is to put this butt splice on it, or this crimp. I'm going to put it on it to cover this up. Or you could also use wire and tape. You could tape it up as well, but I'm going to use this. And of course I'm going to crimp it up so it stays on there for a nice fit. Then the next thing to do is to tuck it inside of this right here. You either solder or not solder, but I soldered. You could also use a wiring cap. A wiring cap works well, a small one. You need a very small one that will fit on to this. Make sure that it caps it up pretty well. Screw it on. And we'll go ahead and tuck it away inside of this. There you go. It's pretty much hidden already and it's tucked away. Alright, now that we dealt with the wire, let's go ahead and get rid of this T right here. So we're going to take this one from the laser tube and we're going to directly connect to this inlet line right here. Alright, but we're going to go ahead and throw in one of these old clamps to help us out. Just put on your old clamp and throw this into here. And then we'll tighten it up. Make sure it's secure on there before you screw it up. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this tie right here, and I'm going to put another clamp in there as well. Alright, I clamped 2 rings into here. Much better than the use of the wire and tie that it came with the machine. And of course, outside I secured it with 2 more clamps outside. While we're at it, it's best just to correct all the things that needs correction. Alright? Before you screw back on the panel for the inlet and the outlet, make sure you check for leaks. Turn on. And of course, luck would have it, there's a little leak right here out of the water inlet hose. So we're going to have to turn that off and correct this. Alright, after tying up the clamps and checking the hose one more time, let's go ahead and try this again. Double check for leaks before we screw back on the panel. 21.8 Celsius. And it looks good this time. Everything's all tight and there's no water leaks and we're ready to screw on the panel. You notice for the air right here that came with the machine, I also added a clamp to it to hold it on. A lot of times this will come right off without the clamp as you're using it. And I got tired of that, so we clamped it on. It will never come off again. You can hear the chiller kicking in right now. You can hear the sound of the fan. One Studio M.